But you're okay with advertising Danzig.
Oh yeah.
That's okay. And you know, this was my backup plan for the camera, by the way, if I couldn't flip it around like that. The good old mirror.
Hey, if it works, it works.
It's like probably about a 6-second delay streaming to YouTube. Not too bad. Horrible having my headphones on while that started playing.
Yeah, it was like with Reddy's delay yesterday.
Oh my god.
That
was cracking me up. I was trying so hard not to just like laugh because it just reminded me of the terrible video calls we used to do on like AOL Messenger 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, that was terrible. You know what, guys? I've had this remote for like 17 years. And you know what I just discovered? I still have the bad plastic on it. Wow, it looks so much shinier now. I mean, look at that. It's so shiny. Wow. I hate it when people leave the plastic on things, so now I'm a hypocrite. Of course, I just started using it like 2 days ago, so. Is that your keyboard making that sound?
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
You have like blue switches in there?
Box.
Well,
it might be black or red, I'm not sure.
It sounds like static over here. It sounds like...
That's just because I type so fast.
But it sounded like you had attached a sound effect to it, to be honest. And I was about to be impressed. I was like, that is such a cool thing.
I actually do like this board. It has this sort of hollow reverb that bounces off like the bottom of the plastic of the case. But I actually kind of like the sound. You know, I'm not that into keyboards, even though I've got a lot of them here. So you might not believe me, but...
You're not a key weeb.
Oh, wait. We're live. Never mind.
Well, I'm not a key person either, except I kept breaking keyboards, and I was like, you know what? I'm sick of spending a ton of money on keyboards. I'm going to make one that's infinitely repairable, and then I made my own.
You know what? I bought a lot of Bluetooth keyboards trying to find one that I could like cram into a Cyberdeck, and then I just gave up and decided to, use a full size.
Yeah, I'm going to come out with a version that's like my Switch that's smaller here. So if I hold up my Switch here, it's a normal size. But the only reason why I chose this size, which is like 18.2 millimeters, something like that, is so it would be the same size as a Cherry, right? Because that's what everyone's used to. But I don't really need that. Like, I can make this much smaller. So if you guys want to make Cyberdecks with smaller keys, I can do that. No problem.
That's actually something we need.
Yeah, I keep seeing people posting these tiny, terrible keyboards. I'm
standard, standard Cherry MX compatible keycaps. It's a good spacing. It's very comfortable. But, we can all type on something a bit smaller. Laptop keyboards are a couple millimeters smaller each cap, and, that works.
Yeah, especially if you go with smaller magnets. So I've got those 3 millimeter magnets. If you use those instead, I can go really small. I can probably get half the size of a normal key.
Oh,
and it would still feel fantastic,
You don't want to go back to like netbook size keys. Those are horrible.
Well, you don't really need a square key though. If it's a rectangle taller than wide, you can still type on it very comfortably because it's the up and down motion that you are mostly using. So you could squish them together side to side a little bit more. Because if we could take a 40% keyboard and knock off maybe 3-4 inches off the side of it, so it's more like a tablet sized, that could be good for a bunch of these.
I could do that, no problem. But let me tell you something: when you're working with keys that small, you don't want a dish. So a normal keyboard dish is like that. It's got a cutout so that your finger sort of fits into it. But when you go really small, you want the opposite. You want like a curve, like, I'm just holding this up as an example, but you want it to be the opposite, more like a space bar. Mm-hmm. That way that your fingers can feel where the key is and press the direct center of it instead of actually hitting like
Right.
the corner. You don't realize it, but when you're typing, you actually a lot of the time you'll hit like one of the corners of the keys. But since there's so much space there, you've got that muscle memory. It doesn't matter. But when you go with a teeny tiny keyboard, you want the you basically want a rounded top.
Yeah, no, it's
For
true.
ergonomics reasons. Yeah.
My keys are concave, kind of like that, and I mostly type on the side of it. I really never hit the center when I'm typing.
Yeah, my keycap playground has inverted dish for that just so people could do that. Normally it's used with space bars. Hold on. But for mine, see how it's like the space bar is kind of a how do I see it's got like a rounded top.
Yeah.
It's not flat. How do I gotta get like the right profile view. Yeah, here we go. Back up. But that's sort of the shape you'd want, but obviously smaller. And a teeny tiny little keyboard. And my keycap playground supports that because I was thinking ahead. I
Nice.
thought of that already.
Let's see. For the Hall effect switches, sensors that you're using, can you hand wire this? Could you make this a hand wire?
Well, I've been working on that at the behest of Lydia, who is supposed to be joining us, right? And that is
I don't think she's gonna.
Oh.
Well, I haven't
So-
heard back from her. Maybe.
you can't really see. It's not going to focus, but that says risky unit. Yeah, it's not
Square
gonna focus.
PC board. Can
But
kinda
yeah.
see it.
You know what? I gotta take my headphones off because what I want is right back here, and I'll get you the big version of this. Hold on. Get how many PCBs are on here. All right. Well, this one has a line cut off, but normally there's like an extra one on the side here. I just broke it off. That's where this came from. But this is my risky unit board. It's just like an Amoeba. If you guys have ever seen one of these,
Oh,
This
okay,
is,
so you
um,
can just snap off what you need to.
yeah, it's just like that, but it's made for Hall effects switch sensors. And this is one where I've soldered the Hall effect sensor right onto it. And it has a hole in it for SK6812. But in the next version, I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to replace it with just having the WS2812 pre-soldered right on there, because it's it doesn't cost that much to add it. Might as well. It's like a few cents. Why not just have it pre-soldered?
So if you've snapped them apart and then try and line them back up next to each other, will they still fit, or is there a little tolerance issue from the board?
They'll still fit. I don't know if you can see that. You can't. There's no way you can see that. So these are mouse bites, right? But the way they're designed is the top portion breaks off right there and the bottom portion. So you'll have like a gap between them,
Cool.
so that you don't have that problem. I
Yeah.
thought of that too.
Yeah, that was like on the retro PSU when you snap off the battery connector. If you want to solder directly on, it leaves behind those little bumps from the holes in it, and had to spend a bit of time shaving them down so I could fit it in this very tight case.
Yeah, so the risky unit board, actually, it didn't work in this version, but the next version I'm hoping it will. Between the mouse bites, power and the LED signal will run. So if you just wanted to make a macro pad out of it, you could just like put the switches right on top of it, and it should just work. You won't need to run. You won't need to run like wires between each individual one like you do with the Amoeba.
Pretty cool.
And it's one of these, like, it goes to the right and the left and then down with the LEDs. But you can break it off if you want and hand wire it that way.
Yeah, well, with a board like that, that'd be great for making a split.
I should share my screen. I'll show you what the new version looks like. It doesn't look like this anymore. It's different. Share screen. Remember this selection.
I might need to change something here too for it to work for you.
Only share screens with such you trust. It won't let me allow it. There we go. All right, now I'm sharing my screen. Let me go to my. I don't know if you guys can see it yet. Let's open up the unit kayak cab project, and can you guys see that?
I can see your face.
Oh, I'm sharing my screen, but you got to put it up on the. There you go. Yeah, there you go. All right, now let me.
I actually don't know how to do any of this. Caleb ran everything for us last night.
All right, so this is my new risky unit.
Hmm.
If I do Alt F3 here, oh, there we go. So this is what it's going to look like. See, it's going to have the sensor pre-soldered and the LED pre-soldered, and this isn't necessary. But I put little capacitors there, just 2 little decoupling caps, just to help with the power situation, because I wasn't sure how well the power would go through between these mouse bites, because it's such a thin trace. Just to help with the power situation. Oh, I just got an echo. That was weird. But yeah, now so the previous version had a combination of mouse bites and V cuts, but this one's just mouse bites. And the reason for that is that JLC PCB would not. They don't do SMT assembly with V cuts, which is annoying. So it took me a while to redesign this. I actually just finished it, and I need to put it in a new order. To
remind everyone what a V-cut is.
Oh, a V-cut is, well, let me switch back to StreamYard so I can see my own face. But if you put it to my camera for a second, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. There's
I can. That's.
You need Caleb. Well, everybody can see on the left of the screen there. There we go. So these lines here are little grooves that the CNC part of PCB manufacturing ran along here. So what it did was it cut a little groove right there to make it so that you can snap it off. That's what V-cut is. And they actually have that whenever they manufacture any PCB, there's actually always one at the top and one at the bottom, and it's this huge, like 400 or 500 millimeter panel.
Okay.
And there'll be a V groove at the top and the very bottom. So they got to put it through that V groove cutting system anyway. So they might as well let you put your own little V cuts in there, but they just don't happen to allow it with their assembly service. That's really all it boils down to. So I have to do it all with mouse bites. What can you do?
That makes sense. Is there a different option for it then?
Well, you can get it with, combination of mouse bites and V group if you want. You just can't get the assembly.
Gotcha.
That's why I did it that way. I want them to put it together. It saves a ton of time. Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. We're gonna bring on Josh Y.
Hey, Josh.
Hey guys.
I've got the camera so close to my face so that I can do this, but it's a little too close when I put it up. I gotta move it back. Like you guys are seeing like the pores in my face. There we go.
That's why I'm like 8 feet away from my camera.
Yeah, it's nice. Like my boom mic, I can move it all around, but if I move this camera, it's finicky. It's gonna start falling slowly. It's one of those boom arms.
Yeah, I'm not fancy enough to have a boom mic yet. I just have this little thing sitting here off camera.
Well, that's nice.
It's all right. It was like $25 and it works. It's not great. I really wish it had just a mute button on it so I could
the other
hit
thing
it
you
easier.
want is the monitor port. I can see it on mine. Oh, I'll just turn the camera. There we go. Up here,
that's nice.
This red cable here. The red cable is the goes to my headphones. It actually goes to a mixer, and this is a flashlight. Ignore this, the magnetic flashlight. It's charging up there. But yeah, it goes to this mixer board, and then this controls my headphones, my real-time monitor, so I can hear my own voice in the microphone. It's really, really nice, actually.
Yeah, that's cool.
That thing's
for me, I prefer not to hear myself in the headphones. It always throws me off. You know, your voice sounds so much different in your head.
Well, once you get used to it, it's not that big a deal. And in fact, I've got mine turned down a little too much. There we go.
Well, anyone that's watching with us, you can tell this is not a official event or a professional anything. We're just hanging out. So we have some open slots too. If anyone wants to jump in on this live stream, go right ahead. Send me a message and I'll send you over the invite link.
Unimpressed McLast name. This is a great name. It says that my workshop is basically my garage. Well, what do you think this is?
I wish I had a garage here.
This is my garage. I'm in the corner here.
You actually got Wi-Fi in the garage? That's impressive.
And my mini fridge is the best feature. It really is.
Oh, that's rad.
Ah, look at that.
Start with Mountain Dew.
Well, yeah, there's
Diet Mountain Dew.
Diet Mountain Dew, and
and
got the Diet Mountain Dew and the Diet Pepsi. And then at times at night like this, I use I drink what's on the door, which is Diet Root Beer because it's caffeine free and won't keep you up. There's also some Sunkist in there. And one Gatorade in case of emergencies.
Need those electrolytes, you know.
By the way, dude, I'm loving the Danzig shirt, man. I think I have a picture hanging up of me and my friends at the last show they did in New Jersey.
Nice.
The Misfits were together.
As I was last show in Arizona a couple of years ago. It was good. He wasn't happy. There was only like 300 people there. We were in a venue that could have held maybe 10, 15,000, and there was like 300 of us.
Oh, man.
I don't know what happened. They just didn't publicize it, I guess, but it was great because it was like we all got a private front row concert.
Yeah, and he was we saw just Danzig and at this small place in called the Electric Factory in Philly, and yeah, it was the same deal, probably about 300 people, and he was like right there. It was crazy.
Did he have the like bouncers come throw people out who tried to take pictures of him?
Yes, that was explicitly everywhere. So
weird, right?
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really
so
crazy.
When I saw
they like really threw them out, like picked them up by the shirt collar and carried them out of the place for recording him. Like it was actually pretty extreme for what it was. Felt bad for the guys too.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's not something they probably wanted to do. They had to just cause.
You know, musicians always have like weird little quirks.
Well, Danzig is especially known for his quirks.
Yes. Well, actually, so Morrissey actually, from the Smiths fame, apparently if he goes anywhere, does not be beat anywhere. Now I'm vegan, but like I'm not like that crazy. So like people can't even apparently like eat around him. I heard that. Like he's left like talk shows if he's like gone in and like that guy's eating a hamburger. I'm out of here. It's crazy.
I went to a random cafe yesterday, not realizing that it was a vegan shop, and ordered a burger, house burger. Sounded great, and it was this pile of mushroom mush. It was just the worst thing. So I was trying to eat that right before the stream started, and I was like, nope, I guess I'll just skip dinner for now.
Push that off to the side, thank you.
Yeah, I didn't want to risk eating that and then being on camera for a couple hours.
Yeah, veggie burgers to go two ways. It's either like mushy craziness or like so close to meat it's kind of freaky. Like you either get like the whole Shadowrun had like all like the soy products and stuff, and it's crazy to see like Beyond Meat and Impossible kind of go towards that cyberpunk future that Shadowrun kind of predicted. Everyone's eating soy everything.
Yeah.
So you either go from that or you go from like, am I eating like what a cow eats today? So
it is kind of funny seeing these articles coming out about like mealworm burgers and all these future food items. Yeah, we probably will be eating crickets and mealworms and, you know, weird Beyond Meat where it's like vegetables with red blood cells mixed in. I mean, you can buy that at a Burger King right now. I bet you McDonald's is the first one to sell mealworms and crickets because they used to sell like horse meat and donkey meat, and you know they seem like the kind of company that would do that.
McDonald's sold donkey meat.
They also
And
sold
horse meat.
They also used to sell hot dogs.
Don't even get me started on that. There's a McDonald's on Japan that sells spaghetti.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Trust me, I don't either.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably better for you than soy, eating some ground up crickets. I mean, we are living in the cyberpunk future, so.
I've had ground up crickets before.
I've had chocolate covered ants. They're quite good.
Apparently, what is that? I hear like mealworms or something. They have like a lemony taste to them. I don't know. Like I'm obsessed with all those food travel shows, and like one of the guys was saying like he was in some South American country, and he was saying that they actually add like a flavor profile that's close to like citrus or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be.
Termites are that way too. They taste kind of citrusy.
Well, I got news for you
You
guys.
say this like you know.
I got news for you guys. If you guys have ever eaten peanut butter, you were eating bugs. A huge amount of peanut butter content is bugs. I think the FDA allows up to like 20% of the protein in peanut butter to come from bugs because
That's how
there's
they
just
make
that many
crunchy peanut
bugs.
butter.
Well, when you're growing peanuts, little harmless insects live inside the peanut, and there's not much you can do about it to prevent them.
Yeah, it's like the same thing. You eat honey, you're eating bees. You know, that's part of the whole protein thing. You know, that's why you might as well just cut out the middleman and go straight to eating a cricket patty.
Yeah,
I'll wait for my lab-grown bugs, my lab-grown bug meat.
One of my friends,
Lab-grown bug meat.
one of my friends made cookies out of cricket flour. Yeah, I know. Apparently, it's like
Flour?
desiccated crickets, and they grind it into a flour, and you can use it instead of like regular flour, I guess. And I remember I went over to her house, and she's she's like, "Here, eat this," and she just shoved this cookie into my mouth, and I'm like, and I ate it, and it didn't taste bad. But after she told me, I was, less than thrilled.
Yeah,
I am not loving this cookie.
I don't like the future anymore. I want to take it all back. Let's just.
Get that flux capacitor going because we're going back.
Let me check here. Check these. See if anyone else wanted to join in.
Someone says, I've heard that when you cook pill bugs, they taste like shrimp. Well, yeah, pill bugs are crustaceans. So of course they taste like shrimp. They basically are. They're like land shrimp.
I hate seafood.
Right.
They're not bugs. They're crustaceans.
There's this meme online where it shows like a guy. He's like skeeved out by bugs, and then it says "but wet bugs," and then it shows like shrimp and lobsters,
Yeah.
and the guy's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine how scary it would be if like lobsters and crabs were like land animals. You just see like a tree just covered in crabs, and they're just crawling down and scuttling after you.
Well, the first
go
animals
Google
that-
coconut crab.
The first animals to get up on land were scorpions. They were sea scorpions, and they were huge. They were bigger than you and me.
That's not terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That was shortly after the period where like the fungus that eats tree bark started to exist.
Can't say I'd want to eat that either.
So Blasto, go
there's this
Google
crazy fungus
coconut
that like
crabs.
grows.
Yeah, I don't want to Google coconut crabs.
Coconut crabs are crazy.
I really don't
They're
want.
about this big,
They're like
about that big, and they can definitely take off a wrist with their pincher.
And then they will eat it. For real. Because that's what they do.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do
And
it.
they live in trees, so they can like jump down and attack you like a face hugger.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Where do
they,
these
they
things
look
live?
just like face huggers. Just like face huggers.
Coconut crabs?
Looking this up, I guess.
Hey, M40, you know your camera's on now, right?
Yep.
Shh,
All
don't
right.
tell him that.
It's
about to get real fun.
Now I'm really fun.
Gotta make sure you got pants on. We are on YouTube now.
I got pants on, don't you worry.
Holy shit, these things are.
Leggings is fine. Leggings is fine.
No, it's not.
Leggings are fine.
Whatever mermaid tail you got on right now, that's
That
totally
was
fine.
eating a cat.
Class, all right? We were the finest mermaid tails around.
I think everyone should turn down the volume on their headphones a tiny bit because
It's
we're getting a bunch of different echoes.
This coconut crab is eating a cat.
Oh, he Googled the wrong thing.
No, he could have. That could be one of the normal results for googling coconut crabs.
These things are ugly.
Like, how they get, there's that meme where you give a crab a knife and then you start saying it's threatening you or whatever. There's a reason why nobody's given like a coconut crab a knife, because nobody can get that close. And they don't need it. They can just cut your wrist right off. But if they want to do it right, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a coconut crab running around one of these days with like a full-blown chainsaw. Because, they're that big. They could hold it. No problem.
I'm glad they don't live
Did you
here.
guys ever see the remote-controlled insects? It was kind of a popular bioengineering project about 15 years ago.
I did.
I actually made one of those, and it was really, really weird. They're used beetles that I've already fed to my reptiles, and got a hold of that circuit board, and you wire it up to its antennae, and it just signals it, like left, right, stop, go.
Those electronics couldn't have been healthy for your lizards.
Yeah, I removed those and before feeding them to the
But I mean,
lizard.
that'd be so much fun. You're just sitting there controlling the beetle into the, the little terrarium. It crawls up the side and down and in, and then the lizard eats it. That'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
That'd be the funnest way to feed your lizards ever.
You could get it to like walk around a little bit. It works for about 10 minutes before it just starts ignoring the input, realizes that nothing's actually in its way, and
Yeah.
now it ignores it.
Just like school children. Takes about 10 minutes for them to start ignoring input. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish they had more of those.
Loving all the comments.
Yeah, I wish there'd been more of those kind of bioengineering hacking projects, but I think it was just too cringy for people, wiring stuff up to living insects.
Well, now they can make the electronics small enough that it could be an insect, like that size. Like there's a video of a remote controlled beetle robot fighting an actual beetle. My comment to that was, you haven't seen that? Oh, that's awesome.
No.
Like there's like a robot beetle that's trying to push another beetle off of like a little log or something. And of course, the real beetle is a master at this and just tosses the robot right off the log. And my comment to that was, man, this beetle is better at debugging than I am.
I've seen a video of like a little robot fighting a crawfish, and it was like scored to, like that Everybody Dance Like You Mean It episode of Evangelion, where they had to both dance in unison to fight that angel or whatever. That was pretty funny, I guess.
Did you find it, Boot?
I did.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy to find. And you probably found the Reddit post in question, and then if you look at the top, you'll see my comment.
Is that? There we go.
There you go.
I need a Caleb here to do all this for us.
Size doesn't matter in these sorts of battles. See this? A master debugger.
I just watched that again. That is pretty great.
Let's instant replay real quick.
Who do you think you are, buddy? You don't even seem like a real beetle. Goodbye.
Hercules beetles are pretty cool. The grub that they start out as is massive. It's actually it's more likely we'll be eating stuff like that because of how big they are compared to crickets this big, and one of those grub beetles is
Grub beetles don't grow as fast as the crickets do, so the biomass is for the cricket is much better. It's all about total biomass, not individual biomass. Because if it was about individual biomass, we'd be eating all those lunar moths or whatever that live in the Australian outback, because they're like those grubs are like this big. They're huge, You can't even like fit a whole one in your mouth. They're that big. And they taste like peanuts, apparently.
Yeah, it's going to open up a whole new world of cooking shows. I mean, I don't know if you ever watched like Good Mythical Morning, but they eat bugs all the time. And, they really don't like it.
Yeah, after I ate like they did, I would definitely want to take a bite into that charcoal donut. It was the best mouth. Like they bite into stuff that's strange all the time, but the best like after bite, like he bit into that charcoal donut. He had this huge black mustache from all that charcoal. That was like the best post bite Mythical Morning, I think.
Anyone in the chat want to ask anything? Got any Cyberdeck questions since they're here?
I got my keyboard.
It's surprising how much you
if
guys
there's anyone
know about eating
left in
insects and their flavors.
I know. If anyone watches this later, sorry, start now. It's just half an hour of talking about eating insects because it's the future. Future is cyberpunk and terrible.
How many decks have we completed collectively?
None. They're never done.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, they're never done.
How many have we started?
They're mostly functional. No. Semi-functional until I decide to take it apart and build it again. All right. So right here is the guts of the Virtue Scope, which actually M40 wanted to see a bit of. I don't have the second panel on, and the keyboard, I'm actually using it here because this is my actual keyboard that I do use fairly often. Nice little click there with the Velcro, and that thing is definitely not gonna ever fall out.
Yeah. I was about to say, how do you secure the hardware in there? And it's like, oh, it says Velcro. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, it's the command strips. It's like the plastic Velcro. I did that because the cloths kind of Velcro, the fibers start to tear off after a while, and it can get wet, and it gets all sticky, and the plastic ones you can wash.
You use that stuff on the bottom of the keyboard in Yamato. Keep it attached.
Yeah.
We were chatting also.
Nice
we were chatting about this earlier about structural integrity of this, and I wanted to bring something to mention something real quick. I'm not sure if you can see this, but I guess not. But there, at a certain point, I can't see lights coming straight through the casing, so I'm not sure if that's caused concern. So, but
I don't know. You've got the connecting strips that go down.
Yeah. Yep,
right, you have those installed?
Yep, right there. I believe that's what you're talking about.
Right, so there shouldn't be any light showing through unless you use like a clear glue.
Oh, actually, no, I see where the heck it is. It's right where the keyboard and the
it's too dark and it's a black case, so you'll have to add a light.
Yeah, I know.
Can't see anything you're pointing at.
Yeah. Right. Let's just assume for the sake of argument that there is a slight bit of light coming through this, even if I can't somehow show you on this. But...
Well, since I use black glue for mine, that's probably why I don't notice it myself. I do know where you're talking about, though. It's where the vertical seam adapter connects to the bottom seam adapter. There could be a bit of a gap in there.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, and
Valmarine-
mine is just sealed because of the glue.
Valmarine has an awesome question in the chat. He says, can you theoretically make a button to go with the retro card to tell a Pi to start a file on the cartridge? And I can answer that question, and the answer is yes. You can make a script that runs whenever you insert a particular, basically that matches any given USB ID. So you can do that with the just any old Linux box. What's the udev, right? So you write a udev script. It's not even a script, it's just udev. So you can have udev run whatever script you want whenever you insert a device, and it can pattern match on the USB ID. So if you have a particular USB ID in mind for a particular cartridge, you can have a script call that, and it will run the moment you plug it in. And I've actually done this before. I've done this with secure. I used it for security reasons back in the day. So I had like a special encrypted file on a USB drive, and when I plugged it in, that would allow the computer to go into the next stage of boot, basically.
Yeah, I used to use a script like that for just plugging in a sound card. I wanted it to open up, I don't know, VLC or something, or Rhythm Box. That's what it was. It was Rhythm Box. Just have it pop open when I plugged in the sound card, so just get right to playing music. It's cool being able to hack around like that. I'm on Windows 10 at the moment on this machine, and I absolutely hate everything about it. But I turn it on, it works, no glitches for the most part, so I didn't mess with it before VertCon.
Yeah, when you plug a device into Linux and you see anything in dmessage right away, you can use pretty much any of those messages that pop up in a udev script as something to match on for reference.
Raul, one thing I had in mind was just doing like a NFC reader and cartridges with the tags in it. So you could just pop a cartridge in and it would open the software that's already installed on the deck. You wouldn't really be loading it off the cartridge. So the cartridge really would be, kind of useless and you don't really need it, but it would just be a good way to organize your NFC cards.
Plus, you want to have a udev script that plays like Rickroll too. Yeah.
I feel like most of the Linux community is about most of the Raspberry Pi, not Linux, but Raspberry Pi community is about like emulation. A lot of people I think get into it first. So I think something like that would be a udev script like you're talking about, or like that was asked. It really really well like emulation station and like calling to a specific ROM. Yeah.
A few years ago for Reddit Secret Santa, I made this great emulation station Raspberry Pi build that booted up with it. Of course, I pirated every ROM ever before I sent it out to the person.
As you would.
But yeah, I made a video about it on my YouTube channel, my Riskable YouTube channel, not my Riskable 3D printing channel. So if you looked for that, like Riskable Reddit Secret Santa, there's a couple of those that I posted. I haven't done it in a while. Like I didn't do this year's because of a promise to my wife because I spend too much time on it. But yeah, so if you want to see a good retro station build, I made a video all about it.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like every Pi I touch like ends up just having emulation station on it just cause. Like I did the Pi thing, I did the Raspberry Pi Zero for my from my 3D printer just so I can like transfer files to it. I think I put emulation station on that just because. Like it doesn't need it.
Why would you have emulation station on that?
I get bored, I can just VNC into it, I don't know.
If the computer can run VNC, it can run its own ROM emulator.
I know. Sometimes, so I think so. There's this YouTuber online. It's Jeff. Last name is he said something. He says about Raspberry Pis. He says it's not if we should, it's that we can. Like with a lot of the builds you do with it, you know, it's not. It's yes, yeah.
Jeff Greeley.
He's really doing a lot of stuff on PCI for the guy doing a lot of stuff for the PCI for Raspberry Pis. He has a really great GitHub and a good discussion on him trying to get a GPU to work on it. Really cool
actually,
rundown.
I wanted to get him on for VertCon, but I really didn't know how to get a hold of him.
I tried several times to contact him on Twitter, and he just never replied. So.
Maybe we'll get him for next time.
All right, it's just about time for me to drop out. Getting a little tired. I'm an old man, unlike you guys. I gotta work tomorrow. But you know what? I want to tell you guys something. When I just moved to this house like 2.5 years ago, and when I moved, my commute doubled. It was horrible because at my old house, I used to get up out of bed, and this desk that I'm at was right in the corner of my bedroom. But now I'm in the garage, and my bedroom's all the way the hell over there. So it's twice as far in the morning when I get out of bed.
Work from home.
Oh, man.
It's so hard. It's so bad.
It is. The struggle is
and then
real.
The traffic, you gotta get past your dogs in the morning. You know?
Oh yeah. All right, have fun, guys. I'll get you later.
Later. So, M40, I was wondering, what screen did you end up getting for the Virtue Scope? If anyone didn't notice, he is building the Virtue Scope, which is awesome. I haven't seen anyone build that in like 6 months.
Yeah.
I found
that someone posted an article on the deck like a couple of years ago. I was like, want that. I've never had anything to do it, so now I do. So I'm trying to figure out how to put this stuff together.
Do you have your own 3D printer, or do you have someone print it for you?
I had to call somebody. I had to call in a favor for that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the lines look really tight on it. It's like a good print.
Oh yeah. No, my friend he 3D prints a bunch of different things. Like he's done cosplay for cons and everything. Like it's kind of like a professional hobby of his. And when I heard he does that, I was like, interesting. But so yeah, I finally got the case thing. Now it's just a matter of putting it together properly and also making sure that all the parts are compatible. And that's also another thing I'm worrying about.
I was going to say, if you got that newer screen that I linked you to, you do have to Dremel out a little bit of plastic in the housing for it to fit.
Yeah, I noticed how the casing is made. Like I was thinking to myself, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to drill some holes in this, aren't I?
You know what it is? It's just the side where the control panel goes. So here's the old screen, and it's got a control panel that is meant to fit into that side space here.
I saw that.
So for the new screen, what you got to do is you got to remove a bit of this plastic in this seam to make room for this crap that hangs off the side. And then the HDMI cable is also a slight issue of where it comes out on the case. So you'll need to just remove also a little bit of plastic along this line. Or you can also place the screen the other way around. But then you have the wire sticking out the side of the case here.
I see.
So a few adjustments for it. As you can see, I haven't actually installed this screen into this case yet. I was getting started on this redo, kind of update it for the new hardware that's available, and then the Pi 400 came out, and I was like, oh, I need to get on that right now.
Yeah, this is a Raspberry Pi 3 Plus right here, so. Yeah, so safe to say that I'm working with some outdated stuff, but I gotta work with what you got.
You know, that's okay though. You won't have to deal with the power issues and the heat.
No, that's another thing that I noticed. I'm reading your old article here, and I noticed that you use lithium cells as a power bank, but now I remember you linked me a different kind of portable battery. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're all lithium, so you've got like the 18650s. Those are the round cells.
Yeah,
they're really the same as the pouches, just a slightly different chemistry. They're in a hard tube versus the larger pouch. I've got one of these here. I think the pouch cells usually are a little easier to work with because they're a lot flatter. You know, you can get them in any thickness you want.
Yeah.
So you can fit them wherever you need to. But the 18650s are also, you know, they're good because they're cheap and they're available anywhere. So, you know, it's always kind of a trade-off. I use the 18650s if I have room for them, but, you know, it's about 20 millimeters that round with the wrap on it. So there isn't always space.
So I've got something.
Wait, potato later.
I think I posted. Thanks, man. I just got it shaped up today. Actually, my buddy's getting married. So I was like, I don't leave the house. So I was like, gotta get it.
Gotta get it clean.
Gotta get clean. But I built some 3D printed torches for my room, and they came with like these really this thick. It had two options. One was a 9-volt battery, and one was this tower of 6 AA batteries. So I obviously opted for the 9-volt to power the LEDs because way easier to fit inside the torches. But now I have 2 of these encasings for 6 AA's. I want to figure out something different. So I've just been playing around in my head, maybe incorporating this into some type of physical build. Yeah, put Are
you saying they're the lithium AA batteries, the ones that have the charger built in to the battery?
No, this isn't as cool. I'll show you. It's basically just a casing that you just put back. But it holds 6 of them, so it's huge. It's a lot of power. Give me a second.
Major in electrical engineering. Did you ever have problems with the keyboard in the Virtue Scope with it being LED and all, or did it just work just fine?
For this one?
Yeah.
Let me just mute Josh here. Say that again?
Did you ever have problems with keyboards in general when you were building your first deck, or did everything work fine? Because I've tried plugging LEDs, powered keyboards into this, and it just doesn't detect it. So,
yeah, the Raspberry Pis have tons of USB problems, especially if the thing draws a lot of power.
Yeah, I was about to say it's probably a power issue.
So let's see, on the Pi 3, I think what do we do? You bypass the resettable fuse that's built in because it's crap and it'll die on you. Or you can just wire up 5 volts straight to the USB side. So you're not really pulling the amperage off the Pi itself, but directly off your power supply.
Oh, just back.
I'm into the other tech drawer. So sorry for me.
You're skipping pretty bad.
Yeah, I was going to say you're kind of cutting out here and there.
Oh, I said third drawer. If you got it rustling around. Is that better?
No, not really.
No.
At least your video isn't blinking out every 30 seconds. That was so annoying last night. I was like, that's never gonna just that's just not gonna work, you know. Like I gotta get a different capture card. This thing's just terrible. What was that?
Are you guys hearing me okay, by the way?
It's a little bit staticky, a little low maybe. The automatic volume adjustment on here doesn't work very good. I think it's better to set it manually.
Yeah.
I turned yours up a little bit.
Yeah. Because I'm naturally a loud person, so I haven't turned my audio down sometimes.
Oh, you falling asleep up there, Blasto?
No, I'm looking at different types of transistor kits on Amazon. So I want to try hooking these strips up to an Arduino. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of transistor or MOSFET I need.
How much amperage you gotta do?
I have no idea. However much these light strips take. So.
Oh, yeah, probably not that much. Probably just a couple amps. Yeah, mechanical relay, one of those opto-isolated mechanical relays that have like 2 or 4 different outputs on it, and they're really cheap. I've got a bunch of those for the resin printer I built. Use that to switch the lights on and off.
Yeah, there's several. There's like a guide here from Adafruit that uses N-channel N-channel MOSFETs.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with just buying the bare MOSFET and building the thing. There's all kinds of issues with them sticking on or not triggering properly. You need support hardware, you need capacitors and resistors and diodes, and they end up being kind of the same price just to buy a pre-made thing.
I wonder if I can share my screen.
Yeah, if you do the screen share and then like select a tab, and then I just have to add it to the stream, pops up like another user.
Love that wallpaper.
So this is.
I guess for a string of LEDs, it's not too critical. Like when I wired up the resin printer, I had to make sure that the backlight wasn't going to turn on randomly on me because I didn't want to get blasted with UV light.
Yeah, because it looks like they just wire it directly up to ground, and then from there to the Arduino.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for that use, it probably worked great. You could probably just use a Teensy for that.
Here they use resistors. Interesting.
Good thing on Arduino is if you want to blink an LED, that is literally the first project available.
Yeah, I did that a while ago, but I don't know, I just want to be able to, like, ideally I would like to control these lights with like a I don't know, like a rotary encoder or something like that. Or
what about tying it into the system that you already have in the house? You said you already have a bunch of the controllable lights.
I do have hue lights in most of the rooms. There's actually, I've got these are the 2 that are supposed to go in the ceiling here, but I haven't gotten around to doing them yet.
Do they make like a generic controller so you could just plug in like any lights to control?
It works on the Zigbee format, so you can pretty much use any Zigbee controller.
Yeah, so I was thinking if there's just like a generic board you can buy for making your own light panels.
Yeah, they even have here, hold on, let me find it on Amazon. There's like a light strip that you could buy that is actually quite reasonably priced, and it's compatible with the Hue, like the Friends of Hue or whatever they call it.
Well, it's an open standard that they can't license. That's why why everyone gets to use it, because it's not theirs to begin with.
Gotta love open source.
Yeah, it's cool though. I mean, like I said, I got a couple of these that are running in the background here.
I'd like to get their strip of lights, but it's just so damn expensive.
Yeah, it's $45.
You know, if you need the base kit for it, which is like 70. Like if you want the little controller box for it, so, you know, that aren't just extensions.
Yeah, that's like costs more than all those light bulbs in my whole house. So
Yeah, I think I got most of my house set up with various
I'm gonna share my screen
cheap
again.
Wi-Fi lights.
These are pretty reasonable. They're like $30, and they work with the Zigbee format, and they use the Hue bridge, I guess.
yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really only need one of those. You could chain up a lot of strings to that.
Yeah, but these are the RGBWW strips, it looks like. Oh, yeah, right here. I can still probably use them, though. Just not use the white ones.
Yeah. Yeah, it shouldn't make any difference. They're all 12-volt modules. I definitely need to get some little better lighting in here. I mean, it's not bad, but you know, the back wall's just a bit yellow. Trekis said that he thinks the Hue lights have encryption now. They might, I don't know. That'd be miserable if they do.
Huh.
I don't know. I set them up like a year ago. Oh, that's cool. They have just like a standalone controller from that company. From Gitterwell.
I use Gobi lights. I think they're pretty good for a lot of stuff.
What kind of lights were those?
Govi. A lot of it's hard to find some of their like regular light bulbs, but most of my house is set up with that.
Yeah, cool.
Do any of you guys use the Mycroft home automation stuff? And by the way, is my audio still jacked?
Yes.
A bit.
I tried switching it to my something else.
It's clear enough. Just
Alright.
don't talk super fast.
It's gonna be hard for me.
I thought you were going to say something about the lights.
I'd like to. I like to control our lights with like the voice assistants or whatever. I use like the HomePod or Siri or something, and I don't know. Wouldn't mind having that in here. But.
Yeah, I won't have any voice-activated, voice-controlled things in my house.
I don't use Apple's because at least Apple doesn't make their whole business model on stealing and selling your data.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
They just make a business model on buy our phones and don't go to third-party repair shops.
Oh, their apps still collect all of the data. They just have different names for it.
I think it's funny that Apple put out that commercial with the Apple and how secure it is, and literally the Flipper Zero guys just released a video of someone holding a Flipper Zero up to a phone with Apple Pay, and it running through the encryption. I just thought that was kind of ironic.
Yeah, the Flipper Zero, did that Kickstarter complete? I haven't been paying too much attention.
From what I can tell, it looks like they're going to send them out very soon for people who've kickstarted it. So it did
Nice.
really well.
Hopefully it ends up on Amazon soon.
Yeah.
Flipper Zero.
I do want one, but I have absolutely no use for it. Yeah.
You're big on the Ponagachi, right? Which is similar.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, that's what they got the idea from. That was their inspiration for the Flipper.
Trekkie has said that the Kickstarter did finish.
Nice.
I forget who said it. Someone in our group said that they missed the mark on calling it Jones.
Right?
Mnemonic. Yeah, and I agree.
I mean, that's their whole thing, its whole identity, and they could have just named it Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you guys see the Adafruit Pi 400 Cyberdeck that they're selling? It's this little add-on board for a screen. They posted in the group the other day the artwork for it. It's pretty cool. They added Jones onto it. Let's see if I can find it and share it here on the screen.
It's very Johnny Mnemonic. The artwork on it's like spot on. Yeah, that whole thing inspired me to do another deck build. That and then the other guy who did the stealth build, because I think some of the problems with 3D printing your own deck, and I think you've said this before, is that PLA isn't always the best when it comes for a transportable deck because of the way it handles heat.
Yeah, it'll melt in the car, and that sucks, you know?
It would be nice to have something injection molded that you can carry around.
Yeah, injection molded, or what I've been working on lately is I'm switching everything over to printing in like nylon and polycarbonate. I'm pretty much done with PLA and PTG. Where I live, it gets hot. The cars get hot. If I leave my backpack in the car with a print in it, it's ruined. So it's good encouragement to go ahead and make the switch to something better.
What machine are you using for the polycarbonate?
I've got a POS, which is getting some upgrades.
Oh, sweet.
I don't want to promote their brand in any way because it's so garbage, and they do not follow open source license requirements, and I wouldn't have bought it if I had known, but I'm stuck with it now. So I'm just going to remove all their branding from it and pretty much gut and rebuild everything that I need to, which I've already started on. Dropped in a new hot end and power supply and just kind of working my way up through everything because it needs a few upgrades. But it's a cheap Core XY.
Does their board come with Marlin?
That's pretty funny.
Or is it its own thing?
Oh, I thought you were making a joke because dolphins eat fish.
No, because you said it didn't follow open source license, so I was wondering if their board came with Marlin on it to boot.
Oh, yeah, it does actually. A version that's incompatible with pretty much everything else, and they don't release any of the files, so no one else can modify it and work with it. Can't really update the machine, fix the firmware. You know, it's.
Oh dang. Okay.
Yeah, and then some of their other boards, they just use the Chitu box boards, and those are same issue. You know, closed off, but they're really using Marlin or Sailfin or something on it. Basically, just stealing other people's work.
That artwork, by the way, is fantastic. It's so cool.
Yeah, this thing's great. They've got two versions. They got like a tall version and a short version. I want the tall version because the artwork on it's just better.
So is it just like a GPIO extender then? Or?
It is. It's a GPIO extender. And then, let's see, these spots on the sides, I think connect to their, I'm not sure which one it is, their feathers or one of their other.
QT on the side there.
Is that what that is?
Little quick connect things.
Yeah, I know it's something that they have on board. Some of their add-ons they sell.
It's their sensors, I think, that utilize a lot of that stuff.
Is that what it is? Yeah, I've never bought any of those,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Yeah, the board itself looks really cool. When I saw the TVs and the design on it, at first I thought these were going to be capacitive sensors for touching. You know, you do like the rows of copper, the grids. You know, I didn't realize it was just the artwork at first. If Adafruit's watching, maybe you should make these capacitive touch sensors.
Yeah, but they're probably going to get covered up by like a screen or something.
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends what you end up mounting on there. It is a cool little board though, and they're gonna send some our way, which will be given out sometime next month probably.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
How generous.
It is, and
So I'm interested to see.
and you're out later.
I'm interested. Do you have any of the polycarbonate prints that you've done?
I haven't started polycarbonate yet. I've been doing nylon. I need to build a better vent system for the case. Just because polycarbonate just stinks when it's printing, and I don't want to be breathing whatever those gas are. Chlorine gas, I think, comes off of it.
I'm currently looking into getting into like beetle weight and ant weight battle bots. So the idea of printing polycarbonate is something I've been thinking about.
Nylon is pretty much the same. You get the same kind of heat resistance and strength overall. It's just not going to be quite as stiff. I haven't found a very strong nylon that's, stiff nylon. They always have a lot of flex in it. But printing nylon really isn't that hard. All you have to do is dry the filament and then print with it. That's it. Like, dry it first, and you need an all metal hot end so you can heat it up hot enough. And it's really not that hard at all. You just have certain limits on the shapes that you can do. Don't try and use it for really fine, small designs. Use it for big mechanical pieces.
Yeah, I've got a Swiss in my ender, so that shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, that'll be fine. I tried to get one actually for my printer, but everything is out of stock. So I went with just kind of a knockoff hot end, but it's pretty good. I mean, yeah, what can you do? There's so many clones out there. It's hard to even find the authentic pieces.
I've got the TH3D version of the Titan Aero, the direct drive from E3D in it. It's got the all metal. What metal is that again?
Titanium.
That's the one.
Yeah, the titanium heat break on it.
Yeah. And they're copper hardened coated tough nozzles, I guess, or whatever. They're really nice. Like, they're kind of soft to like screw in, so you gotta be careful you don't like just torque it right off the threads. But it really transfers the heat great. Like, you can print like almost 10 degrees colder than what you would normally print, because it just transfers it so well. I do have a Volcano hot end on there also, or a Volcano heat block, so that's probably part of it. But
have you been doing any high temp filaments, nylon, PC?
I have the ability to. I just don't have like a box to put my printer in. I guess I had wanted to build one, but
for nylon prints, you can get away with just putting a cardboard box over it and run the heat bed for 10-15 minutes first, just to warm up the box itself. For polycarbonate, you definitely want to vent that, because You don't want to die.
I did usually what I print is just PLA, and I did that mainly because before I had a parrot in the house, and they're very sensitive to respiratory things. But yeah, I want to try getting into some ABS and some PETG a little more.
Yeah, PETG, I just can't ever get it to print very good. Like, it'll go good for a while, and then it just, something changes, some variable that I can never track down. ABS isn't that hard, but the fumes off that, again, are just atrocious, and it's not really any better than PLA for the most part.
I have a roll of ABS. It's probably like 2 years old. I got it when I first got my printer. It's from 3D Solutech. It's supposedly no smell or whatever. I printed a little bit with it, and like it didn't, like you could smell it, but it wasn't like lighting.
Did you get a headache from it?
Not really. But
when I first got my printer, I was doing ABS a lot and totally got these like horrible headaches from it, and just didn't realize the first couple of days there the two were connected.
Yeah, I kind of stopped with the ABS because, like I said, parrot, and I could never get things to not warp. And at that time, I was, really new to 3D printing, so I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I figured I'd just go with the PLA because that's nice and easy.
Yeah, the warped parts was always super annoying. I think ABS is just the worst filament there is to print with.
I think everyone who has a 3D printer has a friend who does Nerf, who's like, can you print ABS? And is like, came to them asking for it. And I think I have like 3 friends waiting for me to grab a filament of ABS to print them out parts. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
You have good success with it?
I haven't tried yet because because once I got my printer, there's just such a backlog, and then I found out about Cyberdecks, and I just was tuning it to get the FPV printed, the Cyberdeck printed, and I'm my whole game room's all tricked out. Everyone's cut for their characters and the torches, and my wife's the DM, so she'll give me things to print out. So it's just have this backlog, and I just never got around to it. But I feel like once I buy a filament, like I'm gonna have like 5 guys come up to me and be like, "All right, where's my gun?"
I just wish PLA would sand better. It is such a pain in the ass to sand. It really is horrible.
So
sorry. Go ahead.
No, so what I did actually is cover. So this is one thing I learned from Uncle Jesse's channel is covering it in wood filler, and then you can sand that.
Yeah, I used. You can sand PLA bare, but you have to do it with wet sanding. That's the only way that you can really do it without it just getting all crappy. But otherwise, I'll use like Bondo, or my favorite filler is the acryl green. I think it's by 3M. Here, I can get the tube. Hold on a second.
While I was doing that, I'm sorry to sway the topic off real quick, but you guys keep talking about like all the cyberpunk stuff, and I'm just sitting here wondering, like, have you guys ever hosted a game of tabletop cyberpunk before, or have you never thought of doing that?
I have actually. I took a photo today. So I was playing Carbon 2080. Oh, that's awesome! I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that stuff is amazing.
I'll post it in the group M40. So today, for the first time, I had my glass hooked up onto my Cyberdeck, VNC'd in, and I was actually like, while we were playing Carbon 2080, I had everything like set on my 3-screen setup, and then I was watching the on Roll20 through my glass. We're playing. It was I highly recommend. I think it's Carbon. I think I'm saying it right. I have the PDF open right here. I'm saying probably Carbon 2185. It's a great fighting system for Cyberpunk.
Tabletop gaming channel in the Discord. I did put it in there. Figured some people might want to get something going.
Let's see here.
Although
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's actually started a game. But
Let me go.
I used to play like Pathfinder a lot, and before that was like the World of Warcraft tabletop game.
Mhm.
That was kind of fun. That was a long time ago. I miss playing RPGs like that. That was always fun.
slight correction. We used to have a tabletop gaming specific channel, but no one ever used it. So I just added it to the games, media, and books channel. Same thing though. Just
I was about to say, like for such fans of the genre, like I've always gone through the Discord. I've never seen like any mention of that. I was like, huh, these guys have no interest in that. They purely just mechanical engineers, or they actually played it and not posted it on the Discord. I was like,
So actually, how I found out about the Virtue Scope and the Cyberdeck Cafe is I was googling pictures to use for. I was like, I have this 3D printer. I want to print out like a cosplay for a decker for Shadowrun, and it's just kind of me looking for just like a cosplay, and then I realized, yeah, I've got all these Raspberry Pis lying around. Why don't I actually use them, for actual use?
right, like if you're gonna go through all the effort to build a thing,
Might as
might
well
as
have
well
it
just
work.
make it work.
Right.
I mean, at least be able to play Doom on it.
Yeah.
that's awesome. Actually, I didn't realize that. But yeah, I was reading Neuromancer, and then they kept on bringing up the deck. I was like, what exactly would that look like? And then I found the article, so that's how I found that. God, Neuromancer is such a good book.
It is so hard to read, but it is
It is
great
very hard to
world
read.
building.
No, but imagine reading it.
I feel like he did that on
came out.
purpose.
Like,
You
imagine
know, like
reading
I feel like he made it hard to read on purpose. You have to be a fan to want to read it.
not just that, but like he also like had to invent a bunch of technical terms that didn't actually mean anything at the time. Then people like you guys actually made it.
Them either.
Like ice, for example. Like I had no idea what the heck ice was until I had to Google it.
I really think how fascinating it is that he has such a standard with that for tech that latest pseudo exploit was called Baron Samity.
I'm cutting out.
It's all back to count 0. Let me get closer. Am I more stable now?
It's just a little staticky. Yeah, is what it is.
I said I'll try to get it worked out. If you do this next time. He did he's called Count 0, where he has the voodoo gods in corporeal in web form, and the latest pseudo exploit was called Baron Samity, which is I think is like so how William Gibson was so integral to the future of tech with his fake world.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, like I said, like he inspired a lot of like geeks and nerds back in the day to actually like bring to life what he was describing. Like, and it amazes me on how far we've come since then. Actually, like the big three. I'm not sure, but I know Neuromancer, Blade Runner, and there's one other I can't remember. They were like the big like heads of the cyberpunk genre way back in the day.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna pull up a full screen on this. I'm gonna just mute my mic and so I can hear the audio. Show you guys the Pi 4000 I got sitting here. It's kind of disassembled, but no one's really seen much of it.
Speaking of which, there's a new deck coming along.
Well, this is it right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a bit of a ways to go. As it always does.
Have to run into any big issues, or like is this an easy breeze just building it?
Super easy, really. most issues have just been poor measurements.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just have to print something too to see how it fits because you just can't get the measurement because it's got weird angles. Like the case for this thing, there isn't a straight edge on it. You know, they did a good job. It's a good piece of hardware. Can't fault them. It's just like the sides, the way these snap together. This isn't a just nice flat edge that's kind of wavy and, you know, not terribly accurate. The measurements on the website also are not even close to being accurate to the actual size of this case. There's a bit of a warp this way, which is pretty typical for Bluetooth keyboards, for instance. And then the profile here, this is the worst part of it. Those angles there. So what I've done is I've mounted it to sit flat, like so.
Yeah.
So figuring out the heights to put out all these little spacers and stuff. I mean, it actually wasn't that bad, but it would have been nice if they had just had a flat edge anywhere on this thing as a reference point to start with, to then build off of.
You painted that keyboard, right?
I did. I kind of butchered it, but also didn't really care. So I didn't bother taping off any of the keys there. I went ahead and wiped back off the paint after painting it because there's so many function keys on this, and I figured I would never be able to use it if I couldn't actually see what's printed on it.
I was thinking about printing like on clear plastic, because you can, you know, with like a laser with like you know, an inkjet printer, like the keycaps, paint it and then putting it over top. You know, like
yeah,
cutting
so
out.
like put labels back on it.
Yeah, the font. After.
Well, they sell on Amazon like keycap stickers for like if your keyboards have like the letters have rubbed off.
Oh.
You could just buy them and just slap them on there.
Yeah. For this thing, I just kind of wanted to paint it just to be something else. I didn't really like the case with it all white. That's how I originally made all the pieces. I reprinted them in a gray and then painted the purple so I could then take the purple back off to have it weathered to make it look like there's metallic showing through.
They make a gray like a dark gray version of the keyboard too, don't they?
No, they only have the white and red unless they've released a new one.
I wonder if it's like
they
the
have
plain
a
old
gray and
keyboard
blue.
that I'm thinking of.
I mean, if it's
Yeah.
the standard Pi keyboard, then maybe could just steal it for the Pi 400 because I'm pretty sure it's the exact same connection inside.
Oh. Yeah, the guy who did the stealth version said there's like blue and black regular keyboard, Pi keyboard.
I'll have to check it out. I'm gonna just go over here and then focus the camera so I can show you guys the case up close. I'll be able to hear you, but I'm gonna mute the mic.
The regular keyboard does come in black and gray.
If you were to make a vintage deck, would you want it to be beige?
Beige would be cool.
Yeah.
Beige would be
I'll
cool.
drop a link in the private chat. The Adafruit one. Ooh, that's cool.
Is that a typewriter? Hi, precious.
I dig the pizza off to the side.
I was about to say the pizza on the side adds character to this whole stream right here.
It definitely does. I really like those the resin printed ends. Oh my gosh. Oh, there we go. That's
There
the
you
shot.
go. Oh, there's the.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that like
How did
resin
you do
edges you
that?
put on there.
How did you get that finish on there like that?
That's a nice metal finish right there.
Is that resin?
Yes, we see the metal finish.
Is that just polished or is that what is that?
Paul Barker just said incoming pizza box Cyberdeck.
Boob's doing a really good job with like the Vanna White presentation here. I dig it. Oh, that's awesome. The purple works really well with the yellow. Like
It's much more streamlined, I feel, compared to the Virtuscope.
and it just fits in. I love how tight that is. Oh, what is that? A hand?
That's his hand. That's his hand. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got you. Don't worry. You'll be safe, Josh. Don't worry. It's just his hand.
I was like, what's that?
It's a family show.
There are children here.
Did you guys ever see the Paul Rudd thing where he makes a butt with his hand? Like it was like on Conan O'Brien or something. Every picture he takes, apparently, he does a butt hand.
So to answer the question on the chrome, I use chrome tape.
Yes.
It's like a tinsel kind of tape. So it's the chrome rainbow metallic, which you see on a lot of hardware comes with it now. It's a cool finish, and it's very difficult to apply to something. It's usually a titanium anodization and then some kind of color effect added to it, some kind of chemical effect. So for this thing, I just ran the tape on it, and then I've got these. The reason I added these prints here, one of the reasons is that this actually holds the tape in place, hooked around the edge of the aluminum extrusion, around the profile of it. On the top, it's just sitting here, but when this front plate goes on, then that holds it down. And yeah, it looks great. It looks so much better than the extrusion did, especially since my pieces were all dinged up and they look terrible. So that is a nice finish, and nobody has that. I mean, these are aluminum. You would think you could buy the extrusion with the holographic chrome finish, but no one's selling it. So somebody do it.
Mirror finish on it though.
Well, if you did that, you would take the anodization off, and then it's going to oxidize and turn gray again. You'd have to actually polish it and then put like a clear anodize on it.
And that's all resin, right? It's mostly resin.
Only the green pieces. Everything else is FDM.
Really tight FDM, by the way, guys. So I can't even see layer lines.
Yeah, you can't see them on the sides because I printed these flat. So you're seeing, the layers go this way. And the rest, it's a textured build plate. It's not great, but I'm not about to print something this size twice.
Yeah.
You can catch the lines. You can start to see where the thing changed directions. I've been wanting to use that new Prusa setting that kind of stops that from happening, where it has all the lines going in the same direction, so you don't get the weird streaks in it. But yeah, I like this thing. It's pretty fun. I actually built it a couple months ago and just haven't really had a chance to wrap it up. I mean, it works. Like, I could plug it in if I had the SD card set up right now.
Play some Doom on it.
Yeah. Actually, I was just I was helping out someone from the group who works on the Kali Linux, and we were testing out some new versions on it, which I actually have installed on it right now. It's a little bit buggy.
Which are there like custom Kali Linux OSs specifically for the Cyberdeck, or is it not? Nothing's public.
For the SBC, right? So like if you've got a Raspberry Pi, then there are specific versions for it. There's a version for the one that you've got, you have the 3B Plus, right?
Yeah,
it runs on there pretty good, actually. You should definitely use it.
All right.
And yeah, so there's a new version for the Pi 400 that's got the Wi-Fi actually working, which is nice. You don't have to go hunt down the firmware for it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice build.
And then the reason I'm
More
not
stream-
turning it on right now is
Yeah, it's
because
more
this is the
streamlined.
motherboard. This is the Raspberry Pi 400 motherboard, so I can't turn on the case
That's a
right
wide
now.
boy
'Cause
right
it's
there.
all,
That's a very wide boy.
yeah.
I wonder if anybody's made a breakout yet for the little ribbon cable that would go to the keyboard, because that runs on USB, doesn't it? Essentially.
Yeah, I think that it's connected over USB. The chips for it is right here. You can reprogram the chip. I don't think anyone's actually done it yet, but in theory, you should be able to just use an SPI programmer. Yeah, a breakout for this would be cool. Did you see someone made a mechanical keyboard that goes on top? It like actually fits in the space of it.
Yep.
It's like the Oppie board or something like that. I think it's called.
Yeah, I don't remember the name. It's on the 40% Club website if someone wants to open it up. I mean, that one he interfaced directly to the onboard controller, which is definitely cool. I'd like to get the power control switch working for external keyboards because that's like a really nice feature. The Pi 400 can actually be turned off. When you turn it off, it doesn't just sit there in like a low power mode with stuff still sitting on the screen. It actually shuts down completely, which is the first time any Raspberry Pi has had that ability to actually turn off like every other computer on the planet. Not completely. But yeah, it'd be nice to get that function working. Yeah, if you want to open up, I'll do the screen share for you.
Yeah.
My pizza box fell over.
No, keep it there.
Are you enjoying the pasta?
I think it adds character to the entire stream. That's what I've said before. But yeah, we're here. Like, is this organized? Nah. Like, we got pizza here. Just sit back, relax.
I'm just using my laser cutter here to warm up the pizza.
Yep.
Which I would actually do that right now if I had a way to shield it, if I had the case for it. But I just got this thing set up a couple days ago.
Now that would take the stream into a whole other direction. Heating up pizza with a laser cutter.
You can make artisan post.
That's my next video. Yep, that's the clickbait title right there.
Pizza versus 1,000-degree knife laser cutter.
Laser cutter, will it heat pizza?
Somebody tried cooking or heating pizza or something on a heated bed of a printer before. I have seen that.
Yeah, I just realized that I'm still in full screen here. Gotta have a Caleb. Yep, gotta have someone running this thing for us.
I'm probably actually going to get going for tonight. So.
Is it?
Yeah, me too. We've been running for an hour and a half.
Yep.
You know what? Dahlia's gonna go ahead and join in now too. So.
Right, well, I'll see you guys later.
Nice meeting you.
See ya.
Later, Blasto.
Bye.
What a nice individual.
Indeed. Also very, very helpful running the Discord.
I bet.
He's awesome. I'm gonna log in with a different browser. I think Brave just hates this.
Oh yeah, no, I'm running. That's what I run. I run Brave, and it hates a lot of things.
Yeah, I can't get StreamYard to work unless I'm in Chrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna log in with Chrome. I'll be right back. I think Brave's just dying.
All right. Good luck.
So M40. The length of the screws I'm using for the LCD hinge. So it's going to be 20 millimeters on the left side.
20 millimeters on the left side.
Yeah.
Let me bring up my notepad. Let me bring up Notepad real quick. I'm writing this down real quick.
Yeah. It's been so long since I put this thing together. I actually don't remember all of them.
Yeah. The thing I like about this deck specifically is that Like, I think it encompasses exactly what people would think a deck would look like if they actually knew what they were looking for. I really like the design.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was going for. I was like, yeah, I wanted it to look good. I mean, really, I used it to start the group.
Yeah.
That was kind of the purpose. Was I've built a bunch of these things over the years, and never any of them that were really truly complete. This one really, when it was finished, it was functional and everything worked, and you just turn it on and go. Like I wanted something that was really finished to get people interested in it. I kind of miss I miss the old modding forums. Like the OC Clockers forum. Back when everyone was building cool water cooled computers, and
oh my god,
like when that forum started to shut down.
Go on, sorry.
Go ahead. It's the delay. It's just.
Yeah.
Let's go back on the screen.
Hey, Josh is
back. Brought out the blue switches.
All right, let me share this screen here.
That's amazing. He sounds so much better.
Yeah. And I have to think to myself, it's gotta be brave. I mean, I've got this like super podcasty mic here. There's no way that.
I've got a Blue Yeti. That's all I need.
All right, let's.
Damn, good.
Yep. Let's share this guy. Share screen. All right, can you guys see this homie right here?
Only got luscious beard so far.
That should be sharing it.
Yeah, everyone should be able to see it now.
Is that a Pi wired to a keyboard?
Yeah, so that's
so I
the
think
Pi
he
400
direct
motherboard. Oh yeah, right. He doesn't use the ribbon connector. I can show you the underside of the motherboard actually has a place to solder onto. I don't know that it was really on purpose, but it is convenient. Probably on purpose, just make it cool for people to hack it. Let's see. There we go. So get this thing to focus. Right up here, there are solder pads for the keyboard connector, which is connected around the top side. So you can just put jumper wires right there and not have to deal with the a ZIF connector on it.
I have so many
super neat
micro SD cards lying around. It's not even funny. Like, I don't even know what's on this. Like, it could be anything. I can't remember if it's a Raspbian, Debian, or if it's Kali. I don't know. I don't have any free monitors to find out.
You know what? So I just keep my config files and
you keep SD cards in your glasses case?
I just keep my config files and then reflash the drive whenever. Like I just do it a lot and just drop the config file back in it. It takes like 3 minutes, and because I've got piles of SD cards, same thing. You don't know what's on it, and you're like, oh well.
Like, I'll label it with something eventually. Just put it here for now. Call it a day.
Yeah, they started piling up since I'm working home. A lot of times my boss will send me, SD cards and the tech people's computers and stuff. So like I just keep like my room's turning into just like a junkyard.
Library.
Yeah, so I just started putting them in here.
Let's see. I've stored my SD cards in this. It is a plastic case, and also in a Doom lunchbox.
Yeah, I have not stored mine anywhere, and I'm always like, oh, hey, SD card, nice. They're just everywhere throughout the house. Like, there must be 30 of them here, and like they're all the Evo Select, pretty much the fastest cheap SD card you can get. They're not huge, like 32 gigs, because you don't need that for Raspberry Pi stuff.
No.
Let's see here. Let's see. I think Dahlia is joining us here. Trying to, anyways. Should be on in a minute. I'll be right back. I gotta go feed my dog.
Where's the pizza though? I was about to say, now I'm getting hungry.
So, are you going to use the same keyboard for the, like, the computer? Are you going to use the same keyboard for your virtual scope? Or, like,
I don't know. That's the thing. His specific keyboard that is in the listings is not available anymore. Not right now, it isn't. So I'm trying to find I'm trying to find a 60% keyboard now, but I'm worried about about it being LED'd because, like I said before, this thing does not talk to LED keyboards very well. This doesn't detect it because of a power issue. So I'm
I use a Royal Clitch, and it's pretty good.
You're cutting out a little bit.
I like it. Oh, I thought I use a Royal Clitch, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, like I have to try plugging this in there, and it won't detect it.
That thing's cool though. Is that a 60% or
no,
is that a regular one?
This is just a cheap Red Dragon brand. It's nothing special at all.
Okay. Yeah, my PC runs on a Cyber Power PC keyboard.
Yeah.
Yo.
Brought more deck stuff out.
Yeah.
I did.
He
was walking by.
He went to his graveyard real quick and dug them up.
No, I've got shelves on shelves on shelves. This one is just a mechanical keyboard. Some of the switches are not in there right now because I've got them on a different keyboard. But I want to show this one because this thing's really pretty good. It's Cherry MX Black switches. It's got a built-in trackpad. The base on it is a steel plate that you can drill into and mount stuff to. And you get this for around $25 on eBay. They're pulled from police cruisers, so they're really gross when you get them. And you have to clean them. There's a lot of blood and stuff on them. But it has the waterproof soft silicone covering underneath the switches. So you just pull that out and throw that in the trash, and then everything's clean under it.
See what I'm talking about? I mean, finding some injection molded plastic and then making a deck around it, I think would be really cool. If that's something really super sturdy, and it's definitely want to be one of my next projects. Is hacking away at an already thing and making it look cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to try this one out. The reason I haven't actually turned this thing into a deck is because it's such a good keyboard. I don't really want to mess it up. I kind of just want to get a second one before I do that to it. Because I actually really like using this. I don't have the switches in it right now because the caps. Oh, hey, Dahlia's in. Let's bring her on the stream. Hey, welcome back.
Hey, oh.
Thank you.
We were actually just talking about some keyboards. The caps are missing at the moment, but this is one of those old police cruiser models.
Ooh, so cool.
It's got it has base mounts in the back.
I might interpret that in a project.
I'll find a link for it off eBay. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're very solid case. The trackpad is almost useless because this was made for 800 by 600 resolution screen because that's how old these things are. So if you have the sensitivity up way high, you can't aim, and if it's down low, then you're just dragging across. So I pretty much don't use that. And when I do get around to making this into a Cyberdeck, that'll be going, and it's on its own PC board inside, so you can just remove it and not mess up the keyboard. This thing's cool though, $30, and it's some 1990s era Cherry MX switches, which are compatible with modern keycaps.
That's awesome. That's very Johnny Mnemonic. Yeah.
There's also another thing. Like I said, I love the built-in trackpad because that's another thing that I was wondering when I was reading the article for the first time. Is that how do you navigate without a mouse? Like, are you using like?
Well, I put a touchscreen on everything.
I was about to say, are you using massive amounts of keyboard shortcuts on this thing to navigate?
I just touchscreen. Either just my daily driver because I'm not going to buy a mouse just to use for a deck. Or just a touch screen. I like the touch screens because that glass sheet will protect your screen. So I have broken several of these when they're bare like this.
I use the touch. Oh, sorry.
Do you absolutely recommend the newer screen compared to the screen that you previously used? Because I'd rather not try and do too much to the case.
Well, if you can find it. So it's probably for sale somewhere, but it's definitely like not on Amazon anymore.
I see. It's not a upgrade, it's more of like lack in the market, I see.
Right, it's not upgrade so much as just replacing it with hardware that's currently available. Same for the power supply. The one that I used, you just can't buy it anymore.
Yeah.
But the newer options are better.
So I mostly work out of a touch screen too. I also I'm lazy, so I have the this Mycroft skill where I just speak and it types. But I also these things are pretty awesome for any Pi build. I got them when I first started building with Pis, and I think everyone who has more than 2 Pis eventually gets them. Yep, you'll find them anywhere.
No. It's let me tell you
the smallest ortholinear keyboard there is.
Let me tell you the biggest mistake I made. I had 2 Pis and I sold one. The end. Biggest mistake.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is the one that we had. Yeah, we had this one custom made. One of the guys in the group had already designed it and built these himself and was about to put an order in, and I was like, oh, I need a couple of these. And he had the silk screen. There's no way I can focus from here. Let me come over to the screen here so you guys can see it. It's pretty cool. It's got our logo on it.
Oh. There's that one that Zach Friedman had on his YouTube channel that makes the custom boards for people. Oh yeah, it's the boot logo.
Yeah, it's right up there in the upper
Oh, that's awesome. Kapu or yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool. Are you gonna do a Laura thing with that? Oh no!
I pulled a Linus, dropped it,
and it's gone.
Are you gonna make a LoRa connection device with that, or?
I can't hear you guys at the moment.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I'll have to refocus. What were you saying?
I said, are you gonna make a LoRa connection with device with that, or like a wearable or something with it?
Actually, a RFM 98, I think, is the chip. It's kind of like the LoRaWAN. It's similar, but it does much longer range with more bandwidth available. Same kind of theme. They're tiny little chips. I've got some somewhere around here. I gotta go refocus though. It's all manual.
I was kind of digging it. It had like this music video vibe with your with your geometry in the background. There you go.
What? Okay. I guess it zooms in on the.
You're good.
Yeah, I think it was crisp, dude.
I'm hooked to the output on the viewfinder, so I guess when the viewfinder zoomed in, it also does that here. I'm using my good camera for this with a $10 capture card. That is terrible. Well, Dahlia, it's been a long time since we've seen you. How are you doing?
Oh, totally. It feels like forever.
How long has it been? I haven't been here for this time.
12 hours.
Yeah.
Since 2 a.m. last night, pretty much. Oh, that stream went so long.
It went on pretty
Yeah.
long. I wasn't expecting it to go on that long.
Yeah, we were supposed to bring you on like 3 hours earlier, I think. About
It's fine. I didn't have anything to do yesterday, so
none of us do. We're all on COVID time.
right.
Yeah.
But I tried to build another keyboard today, and I failed magnificently. And I need to borrow a friend's desoldering pump to fix it.
Oh,
Details.
So let me show you guys. I actually have it right here, and it's looking at me. And okay, so basically, it is a 2-part case on it.
Mhm.
Oh,
I did
cool
not
case.
know that I did not know that this aluminum plate was supposed to house the switches that are soldered on this PCB. I needed to like put the switches physically on this plate and not solder it to the PCB. So otherwise it would fit. And I have to take all of these off.
there you go.
Oh, gosh.
Oh yeah. Oh man, a lot of work. That's so much work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have to mount it to the plate first, right?
Mm-hmm. I had to mount it to this plate because usually most of the stuff I build, like it's directly soldered to the PCB.
Right. You don't have any others that are
man.
plate mount.
Yeah, and I'm pretty
R.I.P.
sad. I'm
Oof.
really looking forward to
I
it.
mean, with that, I don't know, mount the switches and then just do a hand wire, like skip the PCB.
I could, but the thing is, I have to undo every single one of these switches as well.
Oh, I meant just throw that in the trash and start over.
I was about to say, that part just probably started again.
Desoldering is so terrible. I hate desoldering any connection.
I wanted to say positive, but I was like, yeah, at this point, just start back from scratch.
It's, you know what it is? By the time you're done with it, you will know how to desolder stuff.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I would just like scrap it, but these are actually switches that I couldn't get my hands on for a while. These are Aristotle stems, and they're like built into milky yellow Gateron switches with Utemu housing on the top. And the reason why I even soldered it onto the PCB was because like the top housing right here of the switch wouldn't fit onto the plate because it was like too fat. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's supposed to go on the PCB, but no, it's not supposed to.
So are those switches even going to work in there? They're just
No,
they're just not.
I have to switch the top out for every one of these and desolder them.
Oh,
I mean, that is
that's
why
cool.
that is why we play with any of these things, because it's like it's challenging, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you buy 2 of everything.
Right.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It's you're learning as you do it. By the end, you'll know how to solder, and
Sure.
and sometimes I think failing can be just as good as completing it first try.
Failure is
then
the mother
more.
of success.
Yeah,
It makes
exactly.
the final build like all that much more like satisfying, I guess.
Exactly. Actually, there's something I mean to ask you last night, Dahlia. So my wife does a lot of resin work. Does anybody like ever resin print keycaps? Like, do they do like the molded resin keycaps?
Well, I've got a
Mm.
resin printed cap right here.
Make one.
This one.
Little
Ooh,
smiley.
I like that keyboard.
I really
Oh,
need
yeah,
a
smiley.
camera that's zoomed in, but yeah, it's a little smiley face.
I was thinking like more of like the dice molded resin stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Like when people make dice and things. I thought that'd be. I think
Doesn't sound good.
most
Yeah,
dice
I
are
mean-
made out of resin. So like if
Oh no, I'm thinking of clay. What am I thinking?
And Dahlia, you have probably the biggest collection of artisan caps of anyone.
Yeah, most caps are like artist or resin like poured and stuff. So that's like the
That's what
majority of caps you'll see. And then every now and then you'll see like 3D printed caps that are just like painted on. So, but I prefer like the resin ones because they just have cooler colors and textures.
yeah, with the whole cap mold, there's a whole dice mold you can buy, because I was thinking about, how like I would like to talk her into like making me a keyboard with all resin print caps, done in like the style, like it'd be cool, like the character of like my D&D character, like just swap them out on the keys.
Yeah, I'm working on the same thing with my better half. She's got a Etsy store now and does a bunch of jewelry, resin cast stuff. It's really cool. And I got her the vacuum chamber and vacuum pump. Got to get a pressure pot. I've already got the air compressor. So pressure pot, and get her some of those aluminum molds for making the inside and outside of the silicone mold for casting your own custom caps. So really just some of the mold blanks and the pressure pot, and then I've got the last things. And I was like, you sell a jewelry for like $20 a pop, but you could sell a keycap for $30 a piece, and it's only this big.
Yeah. That's what for her. So she's building an Etsy store too. So I was like, yeah, after listening to Dali talk last night, I'll bet she could do the same thing.
It's a ton of work to make them. The people that do these artisan caps, it's a massive undertaking. I mean, they're incredible artists too. I wouldn't even attempt anything so complex, but just being able to make some basic keycaps for a custom board would be nice. Just a single color. I'll paste this into the comments chat here. This is her Etsy store.
Oh, heck yeah.
Stuff.
Insert plug here.
Yeah. And a lot of this stuff is resin prints that I make on the resin printer, and then it gets molded and then can be casted over and over. So a lot of these are.
Do you guys have to use like an inhibitor X? You have to like put it in inhibitor X and stuff before she can like mold it and all that, because we were experimenting with it and just trying to make these dice masters so she can start manufacturing them. It's really hard to like wait for it to sit, de-aerize and then like load it up with inhibitor X and then put it in the silicone, and it just takes a while. Just want to know what you guys do the same thing.
Yeah, for the molds, I use Aluminite. Yeah, it's aluminite, and you just mix it and it works. You don't have to mess with anything really. You don't even need the pressure pot or the vacuum chamber. For making the mold, for making the actual resin cast, that's when you want to get it in the degasser and then under pressure so you don't get bubbles in the cast. But if it's, if you got some dye and stuff in it and you can't really see the bubbles, then you don't even need to bother with that.
Yeah, we just had a problem with the silicone, inhibiting on it just we're creating chemical reactions with the with 3D printed resin.
Yeah, same problem. We just clear coat it in some cheap spray paint first.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah, so when you're done, cure your parts, wash them extremely good. Resin parts are really hard to actually wash clean. And then, just hit it with some clear coat, let that fully cure for a day, and then you're fine. As long as your mold material will work with the clear coat you're using. That was also a problem. We had to try a couple different ones. I could ask her which one she ended up going with and let you know.
This is cool. Thanks, man. Yeah.
Oh, it's frozen. I was like, wait, is he pausing? I've got some switches here, Dolly, I think you might like to see because they're super weird. And also you can get them on Amazon for really cheap. I'll have to go around to focus and I won't be able to hear you guys, or I have to mute the mic. Basically, you'll have horrible feedback if I don't do one or the other. So I'll just go over here. And I definitely need to set up my second camera.
I love how instinctually I get closer to the screen, knowing that it's really not going to help. Like I'm like.
Focus. There we go. All right, so here are these weird switches. You can't really see much from it. Just looking at it, it doesn't look like much different. But then next to a standard Cherry MX switch, see, it's just a couple millimeters shorter. On the bottom casing is the same, but the top casing is like 2.7 millimeters shorter. And then the stem is just a little bit shorter as well. So you can put these in any standard Cherry MX compatible PC board. And the switch plate will also fit. They're totally compatible, but then the height ends up being just a little bit shorter. I've got some caps here as well. Pop some on so you can actually see it. I wanted to get something low profile because I'm trying to fit this in one of the Cyberdeck builds. And I didn't want to deal with any kind of other weird switch. But since these are fully compatible, then it works out pretty good. You see how significantly lower with the cap on. And these are just DSA caps. So I can get ones that are even a couple millimeters shorter than that. It's a flat profile on it. So I found these on Amazon just searching for switches that I could get quickly. And yeah, they're kind of cool. I mean, they feel all right.
Yeah.
I've got reds, I've got blacks, and you know, they're not bad. Pretty decent feel overall. I like the box layout on the stem. It seems to be a little more stable, like very little wiggle in it. And this thing, they're like 50 cents a piece. It's not super cheap, but it's not bad for something you can get overnight.
Yeah. Looks like
I also have to remember to refocus this thing when I go back. Did I mention that I never actually stream other than like the 2 times we've done the conference? But yeah, these things are kind of cool. It gives it just a little bit less height, and you can still use all of your standard keycaps. They just, when you depressed it all the way, it completely closes the gap, and you are like just 1 millimeter above your switch plate, whereas you normally have like 3 or 4 millimeters.
They look so tiny.
Yeah, it's great, and you know, it's not a different layout or anything. I just wish I wish it had the extra copper tab coming off of it, so you could, so you could PC board mount it and have it be stable without a switch plate. You really need a switch plate with these because there's only 2 wires coming off of it, so it's not going to have much to hold on to. You'd probably have to glue it to the PCB.
Like, do you know what the name of that switch is? Because like when you first showed it, I thought it was I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's like kale or calith. Yeah.
I always say kale, and
Kale.
yeah, these are just a little bit taller than that, and then you know it's using regular caps,
Yeah,
which is
it's weird.
You know, great because getting the kale chalk switch caps, they only come in like really basic unprinted variety. I'll pull up the order for it here on Amazon. They don't come up under a normal search. If whoever listed these on Amazon did a terrible job, and they're like really hard to find sometimes. So these are all Temu switches. Sure. I'll post the link here.
Someone asked me what my favorite switches are. I don't have an example of them at the moment, but my favorite switches are box jade switches because they're so clicky. I love clicky keycaps, even though they're so annoying, like the louder and clickier the better for me. And I just really like box shades. I don't have like
that has the extra click bar or something, right?
yeah, like
It's like the extra thick click bar.
yeah, they're pretty big switches, but they fit standard keycaps on them. But because like they're a little bit bigger, they have a tendency sometimes to like break the stem of a keycap, so you have to be careful with them.
That doesn't sound fun. So is it actually taller then? It's not wider, right?
It's a little bit wider, just like a little bit. It's not taller or anything, but it's just like a bit wider.
It just doesn't fit them very well then.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, that's annoying. So if you're putting a resin cap on there, you might crack it.
Yes, exactly. So you have to like wiggle it, or like sometimes like some people will like leave their caps in like warm water to let it expand a bit and then pop it on.
That's too much work. You should just buy completely new keycaps that fit those switches. That's always the solution. Buy more keyboards.
Exactly.
How many keyboards?
I just fell in love with this.
Yes.
I just fell in love with this keyboard. I just love this key I saw in like a random tech show. It's the Ducky Year of the Rat, because like I'm really into graffiti, and it's like all graffiti done. It's like hot swappable, and I was like, I need that keyboard. And it's just got it's a really cool color scheme.
That was another reason I wanted these shorter switches, is that if I put it on a hot swappable PCB, I could still keep it small, you know, it wouldn't really add any height to it. You know, if you did the hot swap where they're mounted on top of the PCB, not like the kind where they're mounted under or behind it. But I don't really feel like building my own PC boards right now, so I've just been hand wiring stuff. I've got a couple I've been working on, but it's basically just a rat's nest of wires, so there's not much to see. But I did get this laser cutter specifically so I could cut out some 3mm acrylic and use that for the switch plate, so I could do some new hand wired keyboards. The 3D printed switch plates just wasn't really cutting it. And I know they won't click in. You just put a little drop of glue on it to keep the switches from pulling out when you're swapping caps.
Okay, this is kind of a silly
I want a laser cutter.
Oh, yeah, it's related to laser cutting.
Please go ahead. Oh, okay.
So I've never seen anyone use one. Like, do those work with like any type of metal at all? Or is it just like plastics and
So it depends which kind of one you get. You've got either a solid state laser, which you're really limited on what you can do with it, or you have a like a flash tube style laser. So the different frequency of light. I think you need a infrared laser beam for metal, for reflective surfaces, or transparent like glass or clear acrylic. What I have is a solid state laser, so it's a laser diode, just like an LED, just slightly different construction. And then that you're limited to dark materials, leather, paper, things that you can burn or kind of vaporize. So darker colors, they just kind of vaporize when you're working with it. Let's see if we got something here. I was getting the reach. Just cutting a few things. Started it.
Headphones me while he said headphones are like 1993.
Yes, I did regret that because the smell of cutting acrylic is just horrible. It stunk for like a whole day after. This right here is the artwork from the center of the Black Knight pinball video game.
Cool.
So I modified it a little bit so that I could do just this piece, and then this is gonna be cut out for just a little wall-mounted art piece.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I didn't really play with the settings much or anything. I just turned it up on the fastest I could possibly make it go, and the highest setting, and it cut approximately 0.5 millimeter into the acrylic. And this took about, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes to do the whole thing.
You said you know on hot mix that makes the chips out of slate. It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think that was Uncle Jesse who did that, and they were showing it on hot mix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, super neat.
Yeah, I actually tried to do that on a tile, but it was a very light color. I think it really needs to be the dark, like the natural slate tile for it to work. The one I had was kind of shiny, so figured it wouldn't work.
Dahlia, if you're really interested in laser stuff, I highly recommend William Osman on YouTube. I feel like everyone just watches a ton of YouTube. I was gonna say I watch a ton of YouTube, but I feel like everyone here is the same
YouTube,
way.
what's that?
You'll have to post the links because your audio cuts out enough that we don't get the full URL.
Mhm.
So as far as metal goes, this one's not going to do metal. Anything that's going to cost you under $1,000 to get up and running isn't going to do metal. You're really going to have to just stick with dark plastics for that. But you know, depends on the space and time and money you want to put into it. You can get pretty cheap lasers that are that have the flash tube. But then you have to rebuild them and do a bunch of upgrades to actually make them good. It's like getting a cheap 3D printer or a cheap keyboard that's made badly. You end up spending more time fixing it than just if you went with something good to begin with. And you know, our time is valuable, so you don't always want to upgrade.
Yeah, for sure. Because I was just wondering, like, if you could, like, laser cut a plate or something, like, for a keyboard. But I'm like, is that possible? But now I know it is.
Yeah, so you know, for this 3 mil, 4 mil, 5 mil thick, it doesn't matter too much. Whatever you have room for, 3 millimeter minimum, and yeah, you can just cut it out. Cutting out the whole switch plate for like a 60% keyboard should take right around an hour with this machine. 7.5 watts output on the laser head. When you're looking for these, they kind of lie about their power output. They'll rate it on how much it takes to run, like the input side. So like this thing is a 30 watt laser because it draws 30 watts. Output's only 7.5. But that is a significantly high output for a diode laser. That's upwards to the limit of what you'll find. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Like I'm definitely gonna be making a few keyboards with it. And just for like the bottom of a Cyberdeck, you know, instead of printing a plate that's basically like a 16-hour print just to have a, you know, 3-4 millimeter thick piece of plastic, I'll just cut it out of acrylic, which will take about 10 minutes and be perfectly smooth, so you don't have to deal with the print lines and stuff.
I just clicked on the laser playlist and I love that the first one that popped up was "Can Laser Cut Meat?"
Well, I was about to say, like, the moment I saw William Osman's stupid face, I was like, oh my god, of course you would recommend this.
That guy is awesome. Yeah, he does a bunch of laser stuff. When you said that, I was like,
There's
Yeah.
William Osman and there's Michael Reeves.
Yeah, these are great.
Yeah, they're always entertaining to watch. You know, everything or two. So win-win.
yeah.
Yeah, if you really want to get your own laser cutter, I think I paid $400 even for this one. You can get a little lower power. All it really changes is how long it takes to run. So you get lower power laser, it just takes more passes to make the cut, and it just means you have a longer print time. Other than that, all the diode laser cutters are pretty much identical.
It's pretty cool.
Edge of
'Cause
Tech has a really good video he wrote on last night
Oh.
about laser stuff.
He has a whole series for the Auteur laser cutter, which I was going to get that model, but then I found this one at a much, much higher output and, you know, more power. How can you say no to that? You think you would ever get one, Delia?
Maybe. Like I got so inspired, like just by like the whole stream yesterday that I was like actually kind of like designing stuff in my head earlier today, like cool like decks or keyboards that I would want to like try to see if it's possible.
Yeah.
I actually have like a really cool idea. Like it's really silly, but basically a deck that looks like kind of like a juke or not a jukebox, a beat. What's it called?
A boombox? Like the ones you wear on your shoulder?
Yes. Like a boombox. It would still have like the
Yo.
speakers and everything, but like instead of like the little thing where like the cassette like flips out, you would have like a little like flip out keyboard and like a little.
Okay,
like,
not to diss
Oh,
the
that'd be
idea,
cool.
but what like because
Yeah.
honestly, it's not a dumb idea unless it works. But like, what inspired such a idea? I want to know.
I was
Just thought
listening
it.
to like funky music.
Like, oh,
Yeah, I mean,
like people walking down the
you can
street,
actually fit
like
some good
bobbing their heads,
speakers
all of a
in
sudden
it.
just like pop up the Cyberdeck from the beatbox.
Dude, that'd be so sick.
So
Might as well. You could fit the battery. You could fit some good sized speakers in it. You know, laptop speakers are just. I don't know how that ever became acceptable to put a 1/2 watt speaker that's this big inside a computer that's this big, and expect us to enjoy that. You know, I miss my old like HP laptop that actually had 5 speakers in it with like a bass kicker mounted in the bottom. You know, a 17-inch screen that I could actually see. I like the boombox idea. I've seen one. It's not exactly a Cyberdeck so much, but it's like a ham radio setup built into the case of a boombox, and it has a touchscreen right where the keyboard deck, the tape deck used to be. I think they used a screen like this one right here. It's about the size of a cassette deck. And you should totally build it. Anytime someone has an idea for Cyberdeck or something and they want to build it, yes, build it, do it. Like, there's no reason not to.
Frivolous.
Like, let me
Exactly,
draw,
all of these are.
our attention to Paul Walker's most recent comment saying he's making a Transformer Soundwave style boombox deck. Like, what a specific idea to come up with.
Nice.
So this is really cool. I do teach. I used to train Linux for a web hosting. Entry-level web hosting. And what I would do is always tell people the best way to learn is to give yourself a project. And one of the projects that I have people do is create an IceCast radio, online radio. And with that, if you built something like that, you could either do like a silent DJ thing with an IceCast radio built into it, which I think would be pretty cool. Which is just like a Wi-Fi, radio service. And it's pretty simple. The documentation on how to build it's pretty, pretty good. And how much of that, but yeah, I highly recommend something like that. I think would work really well.
Yeah, you already have some good keyboards too. So like, you should just integrate one of those. You wouldn't want to destroy, obviously, one of your nice mechanical keyboards. So like, this has Velcro strips under it. The gooey tape part here, ignore that. That's from a first attempt with other Velcro. These ones just peel off clean and leaves nothing behind at all. They're command strips. I think it's like the brand from 3M. You could put these on your, nice keyboards, nice cases, and not ruin them. You can just remove them later if you don't want to have it on there. Although having the Velcro, the plastic Velcro as the actual surface is nice. Because it actually holds really good on a lot of different tabletops, and then you don't scratch anything under it.
That'd be pretty cool because I like the reason I don't use like half of my boards is because I don't want to scratch them up.
I know, right? You pay like $400 for it, and you're like, my baby, my precious.
No.
Yeah, I'm too careless with my stuff. My screens always get scratched, which is why I leave the plastic on, usually until they're ready to like show on camera.
Speaking of funky radio and like boombox, ever gone to Poolside FM? It's like a few future funk web engine, and the website is completely aesthetic. Highly recommend.
Post the
Amazing.
link.
Yeah, full side. Future, but looks like it's from Windows 95. It's kind of cool. I don't know how they built the website. It's kind of ridiculous.
It's better work
Like
than
it
Blade.
does
I'm
way
gonna be
too much,
disappointed.
Like it's kind of like they did too much with it, Like who spent who took the time to do it? I want to know who actually built this thing because it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm curious if it's just an ice cast over top of all of the layers of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently,
I'll reload it so you guys can experience the loading.
what the hell am I looking at?
This is a website that has to boot up when you open it.
Yeah, it's so aesthetic.
Oh my god. This is awesome.
I'm
It's
gonna
stupid.
mute that so we don't get copyright strike. Yeah. I'm just gonna close that. Yeah, no, it's a cool site though. It just looks like Windows 95 or something. It's weird. Can click around, open folders and stuff.
I am literally doing just that. I am enjoying this way too much, and I don't know why.
It's weird. It's like you're inside a Windows 95 computer. Actually, Lord Helix, one of the mods on the group, he built his website to kind of look like that. He was trying to figure out how they did it. I don't have a link to that at the moment, but it actually looks a lot like the full side.
Have you seen the emulators that emulate the dude from Jurassic Park's Mac or his?
Yeah, the visual folder directories. It's 3-dimensional. Yeah, those were so dumb. It's they were taller when they had more files in it.
Yeah.
They're bigger. Yeah.
I'm waiting for someone to make a full Johnny Mnemonic, web space for VR, just to play around in.
Right, or it from hackers. When they're in the mainframe and it's acrylic, engraved acrylic sheets and stuff. I mean, that thing was a very cool idea. But of course, it'd be a lot faster to just type in the name of a folder you want and go straight to it instead of having to search through an actual maze of physical objects in VR.
I was about to say, how cool would it be to have a 3D virtual internet space for the entire web instead of 2D? I mean, that'd be pretty awesome.
And that's what they did for Johnny
Oasis.
Mnemonic,
Now, like the Oasis, kind of like it, but yeah, yes and no.
Yeah.
Have you read Snow Crash by any chance?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty much that kind of virtual space, where literally everything is built out of scratch and just.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that we try and replicate here is from a few books where they were very, very vague on the description of some really cool high-tech stuff. Yeah. And it just kind of lets you fill in the blanks with your own imagination. The writer William Gibson, he'd only used a couple computers before, seen them, hadn't really had much experience with them. So his idea of what they did or how they did it was just completely wrong, but that also made it really good.
Yeah.
And he didn't actually understand how it works. He just kind of, imagined how it could work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you're right, M40. Neil Stevenson has his idea of how that worked kind of could work. I mean, it's basically VR chat now, just without.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. The closest thing we have to that is VR chat right now. But the thing is that it's not mainstream. It's not easily accessible to everything. There's certain hurdles you have to hop over in order to get it to work that aren't easily accessible to everybody.
Right.
That's
my terrible internet connection here. I can barely run the stream right now. Yeah.
But I feel that's what I'm saying. We have the capabilities of pulling stuff that we've read about right now, but the problem is that it takes people who actually know tech to pull it off. Not a lot of people know exactly how to do it.
Right, and then it's going to be, it's not just that it's closed behind someone's intellectual property and it's not an open source thing. It's like, so what if you open source a VR platform? Who knows how to develop for that VR platform?
Nobody's going to want to
Someone
use it.
involved in building it to begin with. Like, there's a lot of tech that you could open source, but for what point? No one in a hobby scene will know how to do it. The only person that would benefit would be someone, just copying your hardware to sell overseas. There is a lot of complaints about the lack of open source VR, but Mozilla, they took that up. They've got their, does anyone remember what it's called? Their VR hangout space. It's built into Mozilla.
No, I haven't heard about this.
No.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. Shoot, I have to Google that one. Someone can Google that.
I got it.
All you describe is Mozilla Virtual Hangout Space. That's all we have here. I'm not sure.
Pretty much, that's all you gotta do. It's like a beta program. You can log in and jump into these little virtual worlds, walk around with the avatar, chat and stuff. It's kind of broken and doesn't do a lot yet, but it's getting better. And that one, anyone can actually develop for. Same thing though. It's very,
or something?
Yeah. It's really complicated and hard to work with, but if you really want to get into it, that is a open source VR platform. But you don't use actual VR headsets or anything. It's just in the browser, so it's 2D.
When I was reading Snow Crash and I was talking about 3D virtual hangout spaces, this is not what I had in mind.
Yeah, it was way cooler with demons with katanas and stuff, and instead of Sonic just asking people if
Is it pronounced demons or daemons? That's another thing I wanted.
Daemons, I believe.
Yeah, because I believe daemons are the equivalent of daemons in Cyberpunk, and compared to what we have are pretty much scripts that we have for pen testing tools. Those are considered daemons, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. At least they ended up calling them that because it was in the book ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Real life parodying media.
And I guess goes some people call it gnomes, people call it gnome.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
how
people pronounce things.
It's no. Yeah. There is no other option.
I know that's how I say it too.
It is GIF. It's not GIF. And you know what? The guy who created that format said it's GIF, but he's wrong.
It is always GIF. It has always been GIF, and it always will be GIF.
Yeah, you don't gift someone a birthday present. It's getting pretty late here, and I think I'm going to call it a night, guys.
All right.
Yeah, I agree. I gotta agree with you on that. It's 12:30 right now. I don't know what time it is. Where are you guys at?
I'm actually going to go to Mona Lisa Overdrive.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was it?
Mona Lisa Overdrive. It's the last book to the Count trilogy for Neuromancer.
Oh wait, the Neuromancer's a trilogy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Neuromancer, Count Zero, and then Mona Lisa Overdrive.
Are they all good, or is the first book the only one you really need to read?
They get better.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. So I got 2 more books I need to buy.
Yeah. You get super good.
Sure, buy or quickly Google search.
Buy. I like having a physical copy. That's the one thing I don't think I'm ever gonna go digital for, and that's for books.
Yeah.
My money, my bank statements, I'll make those digital, okay, but the books, those stay physical, okay?
I'm with you. I like a good book in my hand too.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on again, and
yeah, thanks for having me.
You guys too. I'm gonna keep doing this now that I've got it set up to do this. I'll get a better capture card, but I'm gonna keep doing this. So anyone that wants to just jump back in, we're just gonna do an open invite system. So StreamYard has a space for 10 people, so that's 9 plus me, and anyone will be able to just jump in when we do this once or twice a week, and then maybe every month do something a little more official, with kind of a specific topic in mind.
Also,
Which, yeah,
okay,
that's
I
kind of
wanted
the
to know that Paul Baker said that it was Count Zero, Neuromancer, and then Mona Lisa Overdrive for the Neuromancer trilogy.
Chronological
Apparently,
or rating best to
chronologically.
worst?
I believe chronologically.
Right, one's a prequel.
Oh,
Right.
Great. Now I have two more complicated books I need to put together now. Great.
I mean, I would just start with Neuromancer because
Everybody started with Neuromancer. Who's ever had interest in this genre, they started with Neuromancer. Like, it's like metalheads that get into metal. They listen to Metallica. That's what they do. It's what you do.
Yep, my first big concert I ever went to, Metallica, at like 14 or 13. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm losing it here. You know.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
We're gonna start having deep conversations real quick if we go any further.
I know. I can't do another 7-hour live stream.
Josh, if you ever host another cyberpunk themed game, hit me up. Right, I want in.
Yeah, man. It would be great to do just like a Cyberdeck Cafe game where it's just, all of us from here. Maybe I'll throw something together and, do a 21
We could live stream it too. That'd be kind of fun.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
We could probably log into StreamYard a couple separate times and get like 40 people in at once. Doing the screen in the screen.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well,
a open stream of 40 people. That can't go wrong.
All right.
Later.
Later.
And good night, anyone who's left watching.